welcome back to my channel Sunu Kahani. So we were reading Lallan Sweets till chapter 14. I have already uploaded. So today we are going to read chapter 15. Let's start. On the small TV set, Juhi Chawla attempted to strip off her yellow dress, after which Shahrukh Khan said, "I love you, Kiran," and Jadoo Teri Nazar began playing. I was rewatching Shahrukh Khan playing his most complicated character ever on a TV at a title chai shop at the bus stop. For some time, I completely forgot about everything and lost myself in Shahrukh Khan's obsessive love and Sunny Deol's coolness. I had mistaken everything. I had thought of Niku as Sunil, ready to be with me at every step, failing to realize that for him it was all fun and games and a break from everyday life. His words still stung. That was classic Niku, always thinking our minds were small. That he was the true blue high flyer who would see the capture the world instead of Sunil. He had turned out to be the Rahul of my life. Shahrukh Khan, hai, said a man sitting next to me on a stool, smiling with a glass of tea in front of him. He lived in my gully only. We used to play cricket together. I ignored him and concentrated on the movie as he attempted to initiate conversation a couple more times. That was until I finally banged my hand on the table and yelled at him to leave me alone. I didn't need any man. A bus arrived and the conductor with a half his body out of the door. I yelled, "Chandigarh, Chandigarh, Chandigarh." I bought a ticket despite a rectory ride. I had vivid and intense dream. It was a beautiful summer night and the breeze from the lake hovered ever so lightly in the park, carrying the sound of our laughter across town. The glass was soft and cool beneath our feet. There was barely any light, yet we could see each other well enough to go and run. But first we did tip-top to divide the teams. Strategies were developed, traps visualized, and positions finalized. The team in the opposition was to expect no mercy. Nico and I were in the opposite teams, and I was determined to beat him because he had not picked me. I wanted that to cost him big. It would be hard, for he was a great player. The default beach ka bichu, because it was so hard to get him out. The game began, and I ran barefoot, my mind sharp and ready. Kho, I yelled, and the game began. The speed of our khos was almost jealousy, including. No wonder we had won the championship for the past 2 years. Two players were out of the Niku hung on like an irritating fly. I wanted to take him out my own. I chased him, but he started running away. I yelled that he had stepped out of the boundary, but he kept running. I was out of the breath as I chased him. He kept running, and we entered a market with people yelling, asking if I want to eat some khira. It was at this point that my eyes opened and I saw that the sun was out. The bus was speeding through the city, close to the bus stop. I closed my eyes again, angry at myself for dreaming about Nico. I felt so confused. Why did he have to be like this? So frustrating and popons, but also so nice and kind at the same time. I gritted my teeth and decided to not to think about him. It would not serve any purpose. By the time I would get back to Niku, would already have left to chase all his big dreams. It was all for the best, I decided. Who knew what kind of stupid plans my mind would have started making had I spent more time with Niku. Chandigarh reminded me of Siaka, with its well-ordered roads, patches of green, and people who seemed friendly. That elation lasted only a few minutes though, as I quickly realized that Chandigarh was bigger than Siaka and a lot more confusing. The real problem, however, was that the address Lalaji had given me apparently didn't exist. Not one person I asked knew or had heard about it. Was this my task then, to find an impossible address? I collapsed on a park bench nearby, annoyed with the world, willing my mind not to think about Niku. I bought a butta and munched on it. It was still early morning and a couple of ducks dailed about. Two guys and two girls sitting on another bench nearby threw crumbs at them. I decided to walk up to them. "Excuse me," I said, holding up the address. "Do you know where this place is?" One of them took the paper from my hands and read it. He looked directly at me and nodded. "Yes, we will take you there." I was taken aback by now stingingly handsome he was. He had a dimple on one side, had cheese loud jaw. He was unperturbed as I looked at him. "You definitely know where this place is?" I asked again. "Yes, you can come with us." The others meanwhile stared at me and laughed. "Are you trying to fool me?" Because a lot of people told me they had never heard of the place. I would never lie to you, he said, smiling while the others laughed. He stared at me intensely, making me step back, taking the paper bag from his hands and turning away. He put a hand on my shoulder and turned around to face him in indignation. Excuse me, mister, watch it, I sneered. He immediately put his hands up and surrendered. You look like a girl in search of something. Genius. I smiled sarcastically, as if I just didn't ask you. What I mean is, so are we in search of something? So is everyone in the world. He clapped his hands. Well said. Are you a poet by any chance? I gave him a weird look. Why the hell would I be poet? I am a mathematician and a businesswoman. I didn't want to call myself a math tuition teacher and a mithai seller. I walked back to my bench and later I heard them singing, all four of them. They stood in front of the water and sang, मैं खिलाड़ी तो अनाड़ी. They obviously needed some schooling in who the best hero was. I laughed out loud when the guy who held on the ducks actually broke into the Akshay Kumar dance. I walked over to them again and told him that he was not a very good dancer. He held out his hand asking me to teach him. I looked at his friend who seemed to be serving me. I have an address to find, I said. I told you I can help you find it. Why does anyone else not to know about it? Because technically it does not exist. They recognize the sectors by, but I know where this exact point is. His eyes were desperatively light, his face that of superstar, and he was still smiling at me. He seemed innocent enough. You know where this place is? I swear I know it. It's the promise of the evening. It's not the morning. Sit, I giggled. Of course, he knew that. I held out of my hand. I am Tara. You are what? Tara, like Bolo Tara Rara. He responded with a deep laugh. I am Aman, and that's Jassi. And Jassi, Gurpreet, and Hina. I smiled at them confusedly, wondering which one was the name of the other name in the group. Come on, our jeep is out there. Let's take you there. I followed them unfazed. It was broad daylight, and I've seen worse. The city went past in identical landscape. Everywhere I looked at, the scene was exactly the same as one that had just passed by. The sky was blue, the trees around breezy and green. It was a smooth ride. I pretended like I could not see Aman glancing at me from the rear view mirror. When I did catch him, he smiled a little embarrassed and looked away. So where is this place? This is A17, I asked. Near Sector 17, the other guy said. It was like a local meeting point, for people to meet up before the sectors were recognized. Everybody says. It was the crossroads, a couple of shops and the red lights. Now that doesn't exist anymore, but those who have been here for a long time still say, let's meet A17. And what do they do there? Nothing. They just meet there. Oh, funny. What do you have to do there? I told them I could not say. Where are you from? Aman asked. Siaka, I like Chandigarh though. You like it, huh? Aman asked me, smiling cheekily. Would you like to live here? यहाँ रिश्ता ढूंढते? Settle down here? I laughed but didn't reply. Looking out again, motorbikes zoomed past us. I was surprised to see they wore helmets. I didn't even own one. There were many stalls on the corners, popcorn, chane, budiya ke baal, bhutta. The girls murmured amongst themselves but didn't say anything to me, so I kept quiet. We went around a corner and Aman stopped the jeep pointing to a narrow lane. That's where it was. It was, he said. A17. He looked like an ordinary residential lane. There were houses on the other side, electric wires that ran overhead on the poles, a stray dogs here and there, and some kind kids playing stapu at the end of the street. I jumped off the vehicle and found them all staring at me. Okay, but I have to go to the exact point, I said. Want me to come with you? Aman asked. I was about to refuse, but then thought it could not any harm. I said, I shrugged casually. If you want. Aman jumped down from the jeep. I tried to ignore him as he walked next to me. As we walked a little further, he pointed out where A17 used to be. There was a single story cream colored house there. It looked like the house in Siaka. Most of the gates to the house in the lane were open and clothes had been hung out to dry. Scooters were parked by the side of the houses. A lone vegetable seller stood with his cart at the other end of the lane. Aman pointed out the crossing ahead, the one that used to be the meeting point. A small board outside a shop read, Sarma Uncle ki dukaan. There was nothing else around. I went up to the shop and Aman followed me uncertainly inside. I looked around. Trails of Uncle Chips in at least 4 flavors were on display. On the counter in a row lay many boxes full of Rola Cola, Mango Bite, orange candies, Chatmola, Cadbury jams, Pan Pasan, Lacto King, Fatafat, and even Phantom cigarettes. On the side were adult snacks packed of biscuits including Mary and Nice. In box of on the floor were glass bottle of gold spot Campa, Pepsi and Coca-Cola with a sticker that announced Cola Battle available. We waited and looked around. A white tablecloth covered the counter and a small clock hung on the wall in front of, which was otherwise bare. I was about to walk further into the shop which led to the entrance of the house when a woman appeared. There was a dupatta around her head. She wore a pale blue suit and thick rectangular glasses and walked with a limp. I assumed she was Sarmanti. I cleared my throat and suddenly didn't know what to say. We have rasan, she offered. Rice, gehu, oil, masala. I want a poppins. I said, remembered a Niku and swallowed and a Pepsi, please. Drinking from the glass bottle would allow me to stay there for a while, as I would say to return it. Sarma auntie leaned back inside and brought a cola one for me, opening it with the opener. You wanted to come here to drink cola? Aman asked me. I ignored him and finished out the money to hand over to her. Sarma auntie, I said. Where are you from? Originally, she took the money from me and said, originally from Pakistan, some years in Siaka and then finally settled in Chandigarh. I beamed. She was my girl. I am also from Siaka, that's why I am here. She peered at me from behind her glasses. From Siaka, born and brought up. That's why she has the accent. Aman said. I glared at him. Those two boys who come, Sarma auntie said, sitting down on a chair. I already gave them the sari she wanted. Bloody Rohit and Mohit. So a sari had to be carried. What in the world was I supposed to do now? But for whom? I had to pretend that I knew what she was talking about. You know my grandfather? I asked excitedly. Lallan, Taneja? She stared at me curiously. Of course I know him. He only requested me for the sari on behalf of Kalavati. Kalavati? I knew if I asked her who she was, she might think I was an impostor. So nice to meet you, auntie, I said pleasantly, at which she smiled. Come inside. I would not have taken the money from you. I feel so ashamed. We walked to the next room and sat on a divan while Sarma auntie went to call Sarma uncle, who come with his own walking stick. He too wore the same rectangular glasses as her. Both of them sat down on the chairs in front of us and asked if we would like to have some chai. Both of us refused and thanked them. When we heard, we were surprised, but I saw no harm. That's why he sent the sari. To the boy, to the two boys, huh? I asked to be sure. Rohit and Mohit? Yes, exactly. See, I have not spoken to her ever since she stole my steel Almira. That's why all these problems happened. But whatever. Ratri Badri, you know about the Almira. I don't think so, I said. I got the Almira all the way from Multan. You know how dangerous it is to bring these things. Then, when we were in Siaka before she got married, she cleverly strategized and stole the Almira from the night under my nose. It was full steel. Beta, it has been around since my Parnani's time, and we wanted to give it to our daughter when she got married. What has that Almari not seen? Saris for our generation's gold riots when those hooligans descended upon us. People died, beta, but the Almira saw and survived it all, and Kalavati took it away from me. Then we both got married and moved out of Siaka. Who keeps in touch? We didn't have phones like you do know for 15 years. I didn't go to visit her, but then we met at cousin's wedding. I didn't forgive her, but I was very nice to her and asked her how she had been. I nodded sympathetically, but you gave her the sari. So all is well. My mother was also upset with our still Almira. She always spoke about how she got into her wedding. Sarma auntie looked at Sarma uncle and I was struck by the affection between them. Yes, he told me. Rajo, what is the point? You won't take the Almira to heaven, will you? We are okay here, are not we? Nice little shop, it's quite famous. You know, Sarma uncle ki dukaan, you have come in the morning, but wait till the school children come. There are quiz outside. It would have been great to have a house by the lake, but we are fine. Our kids are married and settled. Sometimes the neighborhood children ring the bell and run away, but we have learned to live with it. And then she asked abruptly, are you going to Siaka after this? I nodded. Sarma auntie got up and hobbled inside. After a few minutes, she returned with another box. Can you also give this? I want her to have it. It's nothing big, just a silver chain, but well, it's a new start, so might as well. I opened the box. The silver chain was a bit blackened from the edges, but otherwise well kept. I smiled and nodded. I hoped this would count towards a task. I was also hopeful that this would help patch a friendship that had gone for sore. Thank you very much. I am sure she will appreciate this gesture greatly. Really, Lalaji had lost it. Why was he involving me in getting a random necklace for a random lady I didn't even know. Sarma auntie didn't let us leave without treating us to glasses of cold gold sport and a plate of Mari biscuit, which I murmured on a quite happily. I put the necklace safely in my bag and walked up the lane with Aman. So your business is done? He asked me. I have more left, but it's done here. Thanks for your help. We stood across from the two girls playing step two, and I just stopped myself from yelling out to her that her angle was throwing at the stone was wrong. It was not going to land on seven so easily. A woman meanwhile wiped the window grills as two kids ran up and down the stairs of the house. You are welcome, Aman said, and I caught myself staring at his dimple again. But he forgot something. You owe me a dance, I laughed. I'm not going to dance with you. I'm not going to dance with you, he said, imitating me. You people from Siaka have such a cute accent. I do not have an accent. It's you, Chandigarh people, who have an accent. It's so rough. Why don't you spend the day with us? We have some stuff to pick up, and in the evening, actually, near the lake, we can also show you the sunset. And if you want, we can feed more ducks. I laughed. Rohit and Mohit were already ahead of me. There was no doubt that they had reached the next stage, but I also remembered the lesson from this journey to do things for the fun of it all. What would be the point of this going through all of this twice if I failed to remember the very things Lalaji was trying to teach us? I nodded. It turned out to be the best day. Jassi, Hina, and Gurpreet were very warm and not making fun of me as I thought earlier. We drove this jeep along tree-lined street. I wanted to ask Aman how he had got the jeep. Only Isan had one in all Siaka, but as a former prayer purveyor of his stolen cars, I really was not in position to ask questions other people's possession of cars. Aman flirted with me, and I basked in the attention of his handsome face and beautiful dimple. We ate the best chicken I had ever and played the songs that I liked. When Made in India came on, I asked Aman to change the song in the evening. We drove past Piccadilly Square and then headed towards Sukna Lake. All along the lake, people were jogging, drinking juice, or eating chaat. I pined for Siaka as I told my new friends about Dima Lake. It also brought me back to Niku. I hated all the things that he had said. I imagined him watching me with my new friends and wished that he could see me being worldly and friendly and interesting. When the sun went down, the sky turned a violet pink and then mellow shades of blue and purple. We watched the boats came back to the shore, and the breeze scared crashed our face. It dawned on me that I had completely forgotten to call Lalaji. What are you thinking? Aman asked me, brushing a stand of hair off his face. His closeness left me dashed about leaving. Actually, I had to go. I have to go as well. I am sure you are not going where I am. Depends on how the rest of the evening goes, doesn't it? He asked, grinning, and his comment suddenly made me feel shy. Aman, we have to leave, Jessie said, for the pickup. Yes, okay, Aman said. Come, Dara, let's go. I was thinking of heading back, I said. Just some more time. I really enjoy your company, he said, smiling his dimpled smile again. How could I say no to that? It was almost dark by then, and we turned the headlights on as the jeep made its way away from the crowded markets. There was some whiskey at the back, and we all took a swig. This time I sat in the front, thinking about my next step. Though it was dark, the worst that I would have to do would be spending some time at the bus stop after calling Lalaji. I was sure that next clue would not be straightforward either. I wondered how many more were left. We all hadn't we already proven our caliber. Mathura seemed so long ago. It reminded me of Meenakshi and Niku, and I dug my nails into the car seat. I realized that I could not think of the past without thinking of Niku, so I just focused on Aman. Smiling at him, we stopped at a street corner that was very quiet. Aman told me this were the outskirts where the city almost ended. He hopped out and asked me to follow him. I walked ahead with him while Jassi and others followed, quieter and more mellow now. Aman and I reached a bench where he sat down. I looked around. What do you have to pick up from here? I asked. It's a bit sensitive, he said, signaling me to sit next to him. What? Well, it's question paper from our college of an exam. If you know what I mean, I nodded. Yes, people in Siaka also do that. I don't believe in it. I am a math teacher, you know. He smiled slowly in his arm on my back. I wish I had you as my teacher. I would not cheat either. I shook my head and laughed. He was staring at me now, and I knew what was going on to happen. I could not look away or at him, so I held my gaze until I saw him leaning in towards me. He kissed me softly at first and then more intensely. I didn't know how much time had passed when he pulled away and smiled at me again. I had to blink a few times to bring everything back in focus. He put an arm around me and drew me close. Before I could process what had just happened, a bike arrived from the other side of the street and parked next to the bench. Of the two men on the bike, one of them got off and glanced at me, his questioning eyes on Aman. "She's with me," Aman said, waving a hand. The man regarded me for a few more seconds before handing Aman a package in the same hand, saying Aman seemed to have handed him the money. The man turned around and counted it, gave a final nod, and got back on the bike. They rode away as quickly as they had arrived. "Let's go," Aman said, extending his hand. We walked in the direction of the jeep. Aman nodded at the other and told them everything was okay. They took out a couple of cigarettes and smoked them. The package was carefully hidden at the back. Aman still had my hand, but I knew that I really needed to go. I could not stop thinking about Niku. I needed some a long time. I was about to tell Aman this, but they started playing a song and singing along. "Sit," Jessie said suddenly. I saw a panic writ large on everyone's face. I turned to Aman to ask what the problem was and saw a shadow of dread cross his face. What happened?" I asked before he could answer. "I heard it too, a police siren, loud and clear, and approaching us." I was going to tell him to relax, that the police were probably not looking for them, but remembered that they had also been drinking in the car. Aman turned to me and asked, "You okay, Tara?" I nodded and he handed me an envelope. "1 second, just hold on it to let me just. Do you have some money on you? Your backpack?" "Yes." "What? How good are you at calling attention to yourself?" he asked me urgently. I stared at him, confused. "What? You want me to distract the cops?" He gave me a searching look, and from the back, Jessie opened the car door on my side. Aman looked at me, and for a second I thought he meant it. "I'm sorry, Tara," he said. And then, with a violent shove, he pushed me off the car. I landed hard. My forehead and cheek hit the ground. I felt the warm blood on my face as they shut the car door and drove off into the darkness. सो गाइस, यहाँ पे हमारा चैप्टर 15 ख़त्म होता है और ख़त्म होने वाली है अब ये बुक, क्योंकि ये ओके गाइस, तो ये चैप्टर 15 हमने आज पढ़ लिया है. मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग एंड डोंट फॉरगेट टू लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब माई चैनल. थैंक्स.